Hey, Pastor Scott here at the Weekly Word. We're looking today at how it all makes sense. And of course, for those that follow Jesus, we know it always begins, is filled in the middle, and ends with Jesus. But life is a challenge, and we've got flesh, and we're being transformed into His image. So we walk through a lot of stuff. I want to read a passage from Matthew 16. Jesus has had this epic moment of dealing with the Pharisees and religion and just the infiltration of the world in people's lives and challenging us not to get infected or get that yeast in our system, and then asks big questions, and Peter gets it right and gets it way wrong. And he ends with this in verse 24. It says, Jesus then said to his disciples, "If any of you wants to be my follower, you must turn from your selfish ways, take up your cross, and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it. And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your own soul? For the Son of Man will come with his angels in the glory of his Father and will judge people according to their deeds." So a question I have is, how do we make sense of it all? I mean, life's hard and so many decisions to make, and I've got responsibilities, and I've got desires, and I've got dreams, and I've got wants and needs, and I've got temptations, and I've got distractions. I just all this stuff. How do I make sense of it all? How do I always know? How, like especially when there's good options, and it's not like, I'm going to rob a bank option, but like good options. How do I know what I'm supposed to do, and even making sense of decisions I make, marriage, job, where I live, what do I buy that house or save up, and all those things. And the bottom line is this, and what Jesus is telling us is this, is sell out to me, and I'll show you. Sell out to me, and you'll gain what I have for you. It might be different than you're looking at it or thinking or wanting, but I'll give you the best. And in the end, if you're selling out to me and me alone, no matter what, even if you have less than that neighbor or different than this family member, or it looks a lot different than maybe you painted your life to look like when you were 19 and it looks different now. If you sell out to Jesus, you got it made, because you're following the only one worth following. Everybody else is walking around in circles or leading us in ditches or off cliffs or just going to, tap out in life. Jesus is the only one who's already been there, because he's always been, and he's making eternity, and he made a way to save us, and then he comes for us and says, "Follow me, I'll bring you life. So lay down your life and you'll gain it back, instead of trying to hold on to what you're going to eventually lose." So in Jesus, in knowing him and how he's designed it all, trusting in him, faith in him, following him, that's how we find our life and find something that makes sense in life. Peter, the same guy really he's talking to here, who had just gotten in some trouble for saying something, and Jesus actually said, "Satan, get behind me. Stop talking to me. Stop trying to thwart God's plan." He's the one being talked to the most here, and later on he writes about looking to Jesus, that we have to look to Jesus no matter what we go through. And he says this in 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 19. He says, "So if you're suffering in a manner that pleases God, keep on doing what's right. You're following Jesus. You're laying down your life to gain eternity." And it's a challenge. And he says, "Trust your life to the God who created you, for he will never fail you." Peter points us to Jesus when we walk through tough things or we have tough decisions to make. And he's saying, hey, you got to know the designer. That's really been our point this whole month. Know the designer. Pursue him. Pursue his heart. Jesus says, know me, and you'll get everything. And he even says so many places in Scripture, I'll be the one to reward you. I'll be the one to prepare a feast for you. I'm the one celebrating you. He leads us in how to do it. So if you want to know how to make sense of it all, and you're maybe you're struggling, or you're striving, and you're just not getting there. You're just playing catch up, or you're treading water. Maybe you're just feeling overwhelmed. Let go. Just let go. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Proverbs says, don't lean on your own understanding, what you can figure out. I'm speaking to me too. In all your ways, acknowledge that He's the designer and it's all about Him. And He'll lead you in a way that'll blow your mind. He says, in all your ways, acknowledge Him and He'll direct your path. And when God directs a path, He ain't never going to miss out on anything.